Раз, два, три, четыре, пять. Привет, ребята. Can you see me all right? Okay, we're starting. I hope you have a good evening or morning or whatever do you have. I have a good midnight right now. I'm Vospi, of course. I'm here to present two of my new tracks of very, very different genre. One of them is called Distort the Facts. Another one is called Will to Live. I wrote about them maybe a little bit too much on my web pages and whatever. So I just want to jump almost straight to that. And first and foremost, I want to thank all the friends for a ton of support along the way. And during these times when everybody is someone who needs support. I think I'm one of the more lucky ones that I cope with the situation much better than others, and I'm sad to be okay as well. I think two tracks that I'm going to show tonight are representative of my very polarizing feelings about the situation. And one of them is that people just go out and do things and say stuff just to capitalize on this very unusual space that we are in and to gain some minute profit or whatever. I, of course, do not like it. Who would? Besides the person who is gaining something. So this is my feelings about how do we have to trust each other and ourselves, but still have to reserve ourselves from complete 100% belief in everything and fact check and basically work much more than we usually do. Okay, super happy. Let's do it. Whew. I'm as worried as if I'm going to play them right now, not just press a space bar. See you on the other end of both of them. And the first track is called Distort the Facts. Whew. Thank you for listening, guys. Please tell me, which one did you like better? I'm just curious. I'm just curious to know. Meanwhile, in the city of Krasnodar, which you just heard in the ending of the Will to Live, it's not maybe as silent as one would imagine, but not a lot of people on the street. And as I said in the opening, some shady people as well. It's just that everything looked so down, even if it's not that big of a deal right now, in Russia especially, that I'm like, I want this full power, 100%. I want it going up and up and up without any regrets and without any consideration for anybody's taste but mine. At least in this one. Oh, they are not there anymore. You couldn't still download them or listen to them as of right now, but in a matter of hours, they're going to appear on my SoundCloud, I think on my YouTube as well, and for Russian listeners on my vk.com. Yeah, I'm reading comments right now because, of course, I am very curious of what do you think about that. I feel very precious about the second one. I think you can tell. This is because I played a lot of instruments there. 4 guitars, a bass, I sang, I played piano, obviously, and so on and so forth. That one is a love letter to things I really like, and it sets my pretense a little bit aside and just goes for the kill. And this is when I feel the best, really. Uh, I feel fine showing off, but when it touches, you know what I'm talking about, when you listen to the music and it touches something that is inside of you since your childhood, I think this is unmatchable, for you at least. So I have my personal relationship with almost any track, and if I don't, I try to build them, or I just ignore the track afterwards. Phew. Thank you. I'm reading the comments. They're really interesting. And anybody who is listening on YouTube right now, I'm not going, I think, to list through all of them, so it would read more organically. Or maybe I would. I don't know how to deal with Russian comments, though, because, of course, this stream is geared towards English-speaking people. But yeah, I just watched a stream of a very fine person from Taiwan, and he was switching back and forth from English to Chinese, I suppose, and felt no problem with it. I decided I would just do the intro in Russian all the time. Yeah, first one is kind of ruthless, and I really wanted to keep it a little bit down, but it still went up and up and up and became, I didn't want it to feel toothless. I wanted it to be really edgy, but like on the brink of pain almost, which is a very bad place for a sound engineer to be, actually, especially for a home producer. I could not check that on a very high level gear to be completely sure that it is not going to sound horribly on some systems. But I did as much as I possibly could with the tests, with the comparisons, with the post-processing. And this is, once again, like you're playing Jenga, you know, like you're trying to not break what you already have. Because it could be edgy, it could be hurtful, but you perceive it as something wholesome and working. Then you're trying to fiddle with it, and it somehow becomes not as, I don't know, punk sounding. The actual balance itself is, to say the least, unconventional. And at the most, it could be to a fault of the track later. It could be really not good to listen to it maybe on a bigger system or a very specific system like a particular phone or a car or something. And you do as much as you can, but I couldn't predict everything, so that's what I'm worried about. And actually the track, the first one, Distort the Facts, came together very, very quickly. I just had a lot of fun creating the intro. I don't know actually if someone go into, as they say, copy strike me for the intro, because this is a recording from a shortwave radio or medium wave, it doesn't matter. Which means that this is the actual song. This is not like I sometimes do, like a fragment that I myself recorded and created, and then later I fucked it up a little bit. This time, this is actual speakers. I even had like a lot of different options, a lot of snippets, like someone saying something about the corona or whatever else. But I ended up with this particular version. But yeah, I was. I spent when I thought that the track is already in place and completely 100% ready for you, I had to spend maybe 6 or 7 hours to balance it. And I couldn't get back to the project because every time you render the project, it sounds a little bit different. And I already became very used to the way it sounds just right now. The first scary texture that comes in, it switches every time, and I like this particular take. which disables me now to remix this track properly, to recreate, to actually reposition the elements against each other, and that's a problem. So that's what I think of the first one. I don't think, honestly, thank you, Vova, for your compliments about Nausea Radio material, but I don't agree at all, because I checked against a lot of references and it's still not there. But I suppose it didn't want to be. It didn't want to be very explosive and high definition. Instead, it should be cloudy and kind of uncomfortable. And every time I tried to pull it back a little, it, as I said, sounded not true to itself. The second one was a matter of me showing off what can I do with guitars, and then it just spun out of control, and I created the whole section, and then I gave it a spin to become a full-length track. I'm with the people who say that they really like the second one. The second one is actually what I would like to state about myself, and the first one is more of a trip into somewhere where I don't live, I don't exist there, but I wonder what happens there. Answering the question, where is the question? I'm going to find the question. Tell us about the Foley segment, street noise in the ending of Will to Live. Is it something you recorded yourself? Yes, I did. And I did it at the day that I was doing everything else. So I finished the track, almost finished the track, besides the last part, not the chill part, but just before that, the trumpet part. It did not exist yet. And I went and just heard some beautiful birds singing outside the window. And I recorded it during the daytime and during the nighttime. The nighttime recording was thrown away. I had like 2 hours of birds, but they were all interrupted by slight sound that I don't know. I have no idea where it originates from, but I couldn't bear listening to it, so I just threw this recording away, and I really like the sound. This is the actual sound that you would hear if I would play piano for you in my room with the opened window. So this is recorded out of my window, and the piano is right here. Still open, still waiting for someone to play that, but but right now it's 00:36 for us, so no chance. Sorry, some people are resting. I am sure that they are. So yeah, this is my recording, and I really struggled with that. I knew I would. I tried to keep it as clean as possible, but it was just much more subtler than the starting track, and it disappears if you would listen to it like in a subway or whatever. It would be too soft, and every time I pulled it up, it sounded too artificial already, without this soothing quality of realism. Okay, I'm going through the comments right now, and if you feel like asking something, please do it now. We're not going to drag this. I'll make some announcements if applicable, and then we'll go on to the elephant in the room, and when we'll kiss each other and say goodbye. How do I pronounce your name? Mitch or Mick? Moreno. Wow, it's amazing, he says. You can really feel the strength and will to fight in this one. Thank you. That's what I wanted to do. I imagine someone already like flying, turboing forwards without any actual danger, opposing danger. So it's so powerful that it's almost untouchable. Vladimir Oleynikov says, also the title comes with flashbacks to LE's Power Ballads. Which one? Will to Live or... I don't know. Very nice. Thank you, Sylvain. These are Russian comments. Thank you very much. Hello, I'm a big fan. Love your Pump It Up tracks. Hey, I wish I had more in the Pump It Up line to represent myself better, like more accurate to what I really like. But really thankful to you for saying that. I like Distort the Facts, says Vladimir Oleynikov, because it's very unusual yet so well executed. Thank you, especially coming from you, because you are one of my main critics when it comes to kind of modern, like a very edgy sound. First is soundtrack poi. What does it mean? Poi? What does it mean? I'm sorry, I don't know. Visuals would make it uber great. I suppose so. I have some I don't know. I imagined some pictures, but I'm not sure I could execute them. I like the first one, mostly because of its explosive feel, says Big Z11. Thank you. I really love the second one, Lara says, and I'm with you on that one. Will you upload the songs by themselves on YouTube later? Yes, Sylvain, I would. I decided to do that, although I need to do a little bit of research on YouTube Music. If someone has some experience with that, please tell me if I could just upload them on YouTube as regular videos, or I should go into that UI and do whatever they want me to do. Okay? That would help me immensely. Find Yourself a Lyricist. Could be such a great song with bonus outro. All names belong to us. Okay, well, I know that you think that. I think I have an idea who you are. I like singing lyrics. I'm not too good with making them up. They come out as very, very, I don't know, unflexible. You can tell. I feel that they are like not truthful. And I'm past that period when I could freely experiment with failure. I did that for a very long time, and now I feel much more responsibility. So yeah, if someone's listening to that and thinks, yeah, I definitely hear English lyrics or Russian or Japanese lyrics to that one, feel free to message me. Okay, I'm not going to go through the thankful comments. I'm going to stick to the questions and comments besides that you liked it. The noisiness of the first one was fun. Hit a good spot between harsh noise and a softer, more musical sound. Thank you very much. That means the world to me. We wouldn't know until we test to the end, though. But I hope this is something that we finally achieved. People saying hi to each other. That's very cool. The guitar playing in the second was wild. That's finally the track where every electric guitar is actually an electric guitar. Because if you would go and listen to Just Kidding and what else? Bass Through and Nervous and all that jazz. They all have electric guitars, but it's actually an electroacoustic one. But right now I don't have one guitar, I have 4, so I could just play a very heavy bass. I have 5-string bass, a heavy one. Oh, by the way, let me introduce some of my co-workers, right? Because that's their chance. Okay, that's it. Let me see if you can see it well. Here, this is my big, powerful guy with 5 strings that came through the whole country with help of my wonderful friends and multiple people actually, and still serves me well. I really like that instrument. Somehow I feel more comfortable with the bass compared to electric guitar. Although it's a very hard instrument to play while you're doing something, and my piano fingers could not cope with the bass. I like creating parts, I really like the sound, I feel the groove, but you don't want to hear these parts separate from drum parts. They are awful, because they are off all the time, because the strings are so hard to pick, and my fingers are not used to that. So that's why. And maybe you saw in multiple videos another main character of this song, but okay, there you go. Here she is. Oh. This is very important. This was bought alongside this guitar the very first day, before she was ready at all to play anything that makes sense. She already had that belt. Okay. There you go. All right. I would like Vospi. I have some songs with lyrics, very little, but I do, and you can tell that I'm not very good, I think one can tell, with telling a very long story with multiple chapters, which is somewhat required for a songwriter, I feel. Both of the songs, and actually almost everything that you heard during last month or two, every song that I released during 2020, they are created in one huge burst of energy. And then later, after the debris settles, I try to polish it and rethink some sections and maybe make this quieter, maybe correct that. But I don't interrupt with the idea, and I don't go with the same force that I went in before. Poi, like in Japanese. Thank you. Oh, okay. Vladimir Olenikov explains himself in terms of the London Electricity album, one of my favorite ones. I have it on my shelf. That there was a song called Will to Love. I didn't remember that. Do you want to play guitar now? No, I don't. I really don't. I'm not ready to do that. People are sleeping. This is another point, and I really feel like talking to you instead, because I worked on these ones for the last 2 days. They were just barely ready for you when I started the stream. Just like that. Like the first one was ready at about 9 o'clock, and the last one, I was so close to playing the piano intro live for you when we started the stream. But instead I recorded the MIDI and just played it alongside. So we are very, very close to it. The premiere was as hot as it gets, like right from the oven. I always really liked the vocal edit for Smells the Chocolate, but I might be biased because French is my first language, says Sylvan Hunter. You should send me a recording of your name with your voice, please. Could I have that? That's my personal request. If you could, please say your nickname or name, how would you say it, and send me the recording. I would be very appreciative of that. I think I'm confident in saying Cameron Wiggers. Does this sound right, Cameron? Cameron Wiggers. maybe that's the way. And of course, I'm super comfortable with Russian names, but otherwise, oof. Okay, guys. I thought I would give you a perspective from the Russian side about what's happening right now. We are, I think, or they say that we are safer than other countries. And we like to be that way. Some people speculate that it is for something else, that they are masking political actions or economical problems with that. But I suppose one does not necessarily negate another. So I try to reserve myself from judgment right now and try to stay calm and reserved. My family made a lot of effort to stay safe. We are not top of the line in terms of our ability to be prepared for a very, very long time, but we are fine. I guess that we are in a very good shape. And especially I am very thankful to, I don't know who above, that we were able to construct a situation so that my elderly would not be in danger, which was a big question that bothered me a lot. I hope you really know how to cope with the situation, because when the dust settled a little bit, I understood that nothing really changes for me as of now, if I of course don't catch it, because I'm very used to working alone. I'm very used to staying at home for a long time, and I always have my ideas. The only thing I of course miss dearly is touching other people. Not even seeing them, not even like outdoors, because I go outside in the night, but their presence. I try to not think about that very much. Not that I'm blinding myself, but I don't want to be beating my head into the wall. That's not a good strategy for a marathon. And believe me, that would be a marathon. I am very, very convinced of that right now. If we are not lied on a massive scale by not the government, but some people who are researching that subject, I think that we are looking forward for a long pause. And thankfully, for now, I still have my clients. That would be people who would like to learn how to write music. And by the way, I got a couple more, which is great. I don't know if this is connected to the people being able to spend more time or whatever else. But for now, it shows two things: that people trust me enough to go there during the crisis, and that people don't feel that the crisis is that big in here. And both of them are great things. They could have negative implications as well, but I think it's a nice start. And despite the very strange, how should I say it? The mood, I don't know, not the colloquial knowledge, but the cloud of thought, if you will. It is rather dark and lost, but I think this is just a very, very minor test of the inner demons, and a lot of people had theirs wake up, which is not the ideal situation, but I hope that our mutual presence and our mutual existence, we are all still there for each other. That should make a difference. And if I were to guess, I think they would be fine after some time. But we should, of course, remember what we went through it if it would not be as devastating as in New York, for example. And just remember it for the lessons that it taught us, hopefully, to highlight the things that we are not prepared for. And there are many, many of them. So, my quarantine recommendations: do your push-ups every day, dance every day, sleep without any alarm clocks. Somebody told that you should like wake up with an alarm clock. I am completely against that. That was they meant that that's like a discipline issue, but I think that's the worst way to create your very, very bad mood and combination of high blood sugars and whatever else. My sleep is sacred, which is why I was very upset that somebody woke me up tonight before the stream and broke me somewhat. So I had to take my extra time to recover. But I feel that makes a huge difference for me. When I wasn't looking after myself, after my health first and foremost, and constant movement, as much as you can in the house, that I felt miserable, of course. And also the thought that you are limited, for me, is not unbearable, but quite heavy. So I think it's great that I'm out of that. Of course, I think that out of that dip. But I wish everybody could do it as easy as I could, because I have an obsession and I have a way of realizing the obsession basically online. Like I worked with the tracks. I had an idea of combining them in one story of darkness versus light. And here I am. Super fortunate to do that. 100% fortunate. I wrote a tweet about the situation and about me creating the track. And that we'd go something like this, that my 20-year-old self back in 1998 could not imagine, could not possibly be positive that we together, me and him, are going to create something like that at all. This was completely out of the question. I thought it was too distant of a task, too unachievable. And here I am, more than 20 years later, feeling like, okay, it was like here. It was not there, but I had to reach a little bit. And that's a very fortunate place to be for a creator. I feel fantastic with my music right now. Just exceptional. The last time I felt that was the Reverence Video D period. Somewhere there, when I played a lot of Bimani, when I competed in a lot of rhythm games, when every height was seemed like it was achievable, when you did not have to have a very, very loud and edgy sound to be noticeable, etc., etc., etc. And after that, I had a very, very long, not the best period of my life. And right now, I felt like I finally built some muscle and put some bullshit away to feel that, okay, yeah, I'm not playing venues, I'm not streaming to tens of thousands of people, but when I would listen to these tracks 10 years from now, I would be gladly thinking about the days and weeks and this particular year and this particular furniture and the smell of that second. That counts for a lot, believe me. If you ever went through your old photos, or in my case, for example, podcasts that you've recorded with the friends, and you had something that you would say is an achievement linked to them, this counts for a lot, and sometimes you would like to cling to that. I'm just super fond of the fact that I don't have to do it right now, that I can go along. All names belong to us wrote a big message, that's why I paused reading it. I wish I could make lyrics for you, man, but I could not. And you new tracks do not need it mostly. Still, that's my dream to sing along your track one day. Don't know why though. I know I have that similar feeling. I don't have the intuition really into that realm. When I hear a word, I know how to place it right. That's what I feel. But when I'm alone with that, I'm kind of lost. Maybe because you cover many great songs he writes, he continues, but never had one of your own, besides Чудесный план. I had some very old ones, but I definitely had some songs with lyrics. Maybe even like it is a chorus, verse and chorus, verse and chorus. But I suppose it's linked to my lingering towards abstract music. And I'm really thankful to the whole chat that admires that kind of music and does not require me to actually go and create any particular theme with lyrics. And I could just do what I do best, I think. Fantasizing with the combination of sounds and harmonies and BPM. And just recreating, touching my like childhood feelings. Julia wrote something above. That second one just touched something in her chest and ended up with the warm feeling. That's what I am here for. That's what I want to get. Besides all the viewership and loudness and releases and whatever else. Okay, dear party people. If you have any thoughts and questions, please submit them right now. I'm going to make my rounds with announcements. Thank you for listening to my stream of consciousness. I don't feel very comfortable in English. I am still too wordy. I am very wordy in Russian, but I feel that I'm much more fluent there and somehow more refined. Sure thing. So, these tracks would be available on my SoundCloud, on YouTube, I suppose, and later, I think, among others, in one big release, maybe in the middle of the year. I don't want to rush it though. I want it to feel just right. I would think they would be released on the platforms that you are used to listen music on, like Spotify and Apple Music, etc., etc. You can just download these songs from the SoundCloud. I think I would make this downloads available. I don't mind at all. I am the one who is making an offline, still making offline collections of files, and I don't like the idea of my music just floating around as one bubble. I feel like that's not sufficient respect. Maybe that's the generational thing. So why not? Somebody told, I think, I would imagine like 10 years ago, somebody would say that if you don't have a CD, then you did not pay sufficient respect to the track. Also, I wanted to create, to move. I need a separate person. I would speak in Russian, he would speak in English, right? I want to create a different stream, maybe a week ago from now, which would be not connected to the new track, but which would contain the same crowd that says nice things to each other. And I want to make it thematic. And I want you to vote on this subject right now, because you have the upper hand compared to others. If you are watching it offline right now, thank you for watching, not offline, but not live, I meant. Thank you for watching until that segment, and leave your comments. Still, I'm going to go mostly with what people would say right now. I want to create a stream about, not create is not the right word, about the music that I really like and built me and I have on my shelf, because I promised that before. That's one idea. We already had something like very old drafts of mine, but I still have a lot of very, very laughable and silly and super old stuff that I would like to show off, just to maybe encourage someone who is just starting out and to understand that it takes years and years to get good, to get decent even. Good is a big word for this occupation of ours. And another thing that I would really like to talk to you later about is one of my favorite games as of right now that I'm a little bit working for, called Rhythm Horizon. I actually wanted to do it tonight as a little surprise, but I figured I would just announce that separately and maybe connect that. Maybe that one I would connect to a new track release, because this is a musical matter as I see that, because rhythm games are about music, despite some people playing it as a shooter with the highest speed mod possible and with the random music jumping us without any consideration for our feelings. I've checked out the delay between me and you. So, yeah, of course Rhythm Horizon is the best, or among the best. I just watched the stream on Pop and Music, and it so many memories and, I don't know, links to the past just appeared in me instantly. Felt so good. A lot of Bimani music I really like. I really adore and admire their somewhat like Japanese, the audacity of the unusual music and balance and very defined style. I still really, really like it. Pump It Up was somewhat and is somewhat of an amalgamation, but I feel like Beatmania, especially later releases, and Pop and Music, later I meant like 7 Keys, so a lot of them, they were much more curated, and I really like that because they stick to one particular aesthetics, if you will. Okay, so I would be looking forward to your comments later about the topic of this the stream that you would mostly like, because I gave you some options. And thank you for being here. Thank you for staying up late, dear Russian people. Thank you for waking up somewhat early, if you're where my friend Lara is. And yeah, that's it, I think. I would read anything you would have to say later. This is the second when I'm breaking this up, just to keep it nice and tight for the YouTube viewers. The Bemani aesthetics definitely has a special place in my heart, and for me as well. That's what Cameron Wiggers said. Could I invite someone to talk with? Via Skype, maybe? That's a hard thing to do. I really don't feel comfortable even just speaking English, and the conversation when it is online, it kind of breaks because of the weird pauses. And I feel that would be as heavy as my Just Kidding stream, because I feel it was heavy. I want it to be sincere first and foremost. That's my biggest consideration right now. Thank you back. Thank you and good night. See you later, dear people. I'm going to go and render and upload and tag the tracks, so check my SoundCloud in like 10 to 15 minutes if you would like to listen to these songs again, or just rewind the stream, obviously. It would work as well. Would be very pleased to see your comments and plays there. And love and kisses from Russia. See you guys.